Hi, my name is Melissa Stevens, and I want to talk to you about a topic that is very debatable today, and it's legalizing marijuana. And I'd like to discuss some stances on both sides. For years, marijuana has been known as a gateway drug, but is now legal for recreational use in 10 states in the U.S. and is legal for medical use in 33 states. People are still arguing that the harm it does outweighs the benefits of its use. Marijuana has been shown to be effective in the treatment for illnesses such as epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, insomnia, and arthritis. A lot of citizens are concerned that legalizing marijuana opens doors for further substance dependency, along with many other issues. People are concerned that legalizing marijuana will increase the rate of people driving under influence, which could potentially lead to vehicle accidents that could cause death. Activists against legalization also believe that legalizing marijuana would increase crime rates. They also feared that marijuana shops would attract burglars and robbers. Marijuana heightens the risk for substance abuse, and people shown concern that marijuana usage could also lead to addiction of other drugs as well. Citizens who are against the legalization of marijuana are worried about the effects it also has on a user's brain. Smoking marijuana can impair cognitive ability and damage lung tissue. Secondhand smoke from marijuana can be just as harmful as secondhand smoke off of a cigarette. Peter Bensinger, who was the minister of the DEA, said, "We cannot ignore the negative effects of underage usage and addiction, highway safety, treatment costs, mental health problems, emergency room admissions, workplace accidents, and productivity and personal health when it comes to legalizing marijuana." In 2014, according to the New York Times, explosions occurred in 17 times in THC labs in Washington state. Activists who's against legalization of marijuana fear that people who will increase the risk of altered judgment, which increases the risk of sexual behaviors that facilitate the transmission of sexually transmitted diseases. Marijuana used in high dosages can cause paranoia and psychosis. More negative effects of marijuana usage are poor educational outcome with an increased likelihood of dropping out of school, lower IQ of those who are frequent users during the teenage years, increased risk of chronic psychosis disorders, including schizophrenia, and marijuana usage can also increase the risk of developing chronic bronchitis. Many people who don't favor the legalization of marijuana can lead to other criminal drug offenses, which leads to taxpayers' dollars being spent housing people who are incarcerated for such crimes. The risk of having a heart attack is increased by 5 times in the first hour of smoking marijuana. It is also argued that people who obtain a medical marijuana card often let the medical marijuana get into the hands of teens and children. Other issues people that are concerned about is the unlicensed sales and distribution of marijuana. And if marijuana is made legal, what drug will be next? A lot of celebrities have battled addiction and also started out using marijuana, like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Amy Winehouse, Heath Ledger, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's just some examples of people who started out using marijuana for recreational use and eventually led to using other drugs as well. Marijuana was not the cause of the death for these celebrities, however, it's where their stories began. Not everyone who uses marijuana turns to harder drugs, but most everyone who goes to harder drugs started out by using marijuana. Television shows like Weeds showed the life of a mother growing and selling marijuana. A few storylines raised eyebrows for those who are not fond of marijuana and don't find it funny or enjoyable. If marijuana were legalized, the advertising could attract youth as well. Legalizing marijuana could also have some positive effects, especially on the economy. Legalizing marijuana in all states could lead to an economic boom. Not only could marijuana make billions, it could also raise the unemployment rate. Legalizing marijuana could lessen deaths caused by opioid use. Colorado is a state in which marijuana is legal and has over $76 million in revenues, $35 million which went directly to funding the state's educational system, according to Leaf.com. In California, legislation includes a system that provides existing marijuana convictions to be took off of their criminal record. Legalizing marijuana would raise tax revenue and reduce prison costs. Legalizing marijuana would be no more harmful than alcohol or tobacco, which are legally and widely used today. Marijuana has positive impacts in treating a variety of diseases, and it could lead to less dependency on medicines used to treat pain and conditions such as cancer and epilepsy. States such as Rhode Island use medical marijuana to treat chronic pain, muscle spasms, nausea, glaucoma, and is also used in reducing agitation in Alzheimer's patients. Legalizing marijuana can offer hope to pain patients. Marijuana can also be beneficial to treating patients suffering from PTSD. Legalizing marijuana could be a more safe and effective way to treat things like PTSD instead of taking antidepressants like Xanax, which is a highly addictive drug. Marijuana has been proven effective in the treatment of irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, neuropathy, and neuropathy is usually used to be treated with Neurontin or gabapentin, which is also a highly addictive drug. So marijuana, that's one it could replace, is gabapentin, or commonly known as Neurontin. People who are against the legalizing of marijuana may not be aware that marijuana has side effects that usually don't last long. The side effects include dizziness, drowsiness, euphoria, short-term memory loss. Marijuana activists believe the medical benefits outweigh the negative effects. The human body makes marijuana-like chemicals that affect pain, inflammation, and many other processes. Marijuana can also help natural chemicals work better. Although some people say it's hard on the lungs, marijuana legalization activists say the marijuana does no harm to the lungs, not unless you smoke tobacco. It is to be believed that increases the lung capacity. Activists for legalization of marijuana state that using marijuana for glaucoma lowers the intraocular pressure in people suffering from glaucoma. Many people who use marijuana today for recreational use are also unemployed due to not being able to pass a drug screen. If legalized, the employment rate could potentially rise because they wouldn't be filling drug screens. It would be legal. Legalizing marijuana would have boundaries when it came to the workplace. Employers would have the right to set boundaries, just like no alcohol in the workplace. Employers would have to set boundaries so the employee wouldn't be under the influence while at work. Whether someone is for or against the use of marijuana, it has been around for centuries and will continue to do so. There's really no getting rid of it because it's a plant and it's natural to grow it. So legalizing it would be very beneficial to the economy, but also come with repercussions of people who abuse the substance. Will the harm of marijuana outweigh the medical benefits? Only time will tell.